Had a very nice 4th of July yesterday.
Tiring,
Huh?
tiring. A lot of guests.
Mhm.
Actually, coupled with a block party yesterday. So
I was up at 5 yesterday
chaos.
morning doing ribs. So it was a long day, a long day. So anyway, again, I want to thank everybody for joining the program. Today is Friday, obviously a free flow Friday, but we have some guests this morning, and so um, unusual. And normally this would be first Friday. We were joined by Craig Stingley. He couldn't make it with us this morning, and so with that said, let's get this party. All right, we're very fortunate to have in studio with us this morning Pastor Robert Pyles, pastor of the Abundant Faith Church in Milwaukee. Good morning.
Good
morning.
And one of the reasons why he's here, not just to be here chilling, I was wondering, I was getting gas across the street,
Mhm.
and I saw this dude pull up on a motorcycle over in my parking spot across the street. I'm trying to think, who is this on the motorcycle, man?
I'm sorry, man. I put in your spot.
No, we joke, man. Well, it kind of is my spot, though, isn't it, DJ? Isn't that what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, we kidding,
Yeah,
man. But anyway,
everybody
welcome.
got-
I saw it, man. I'm thinking, dude.
You're actually on a motorcycle?
Yes, sir.
I don't know many clergy who ride.
It's a few.
Is that Harley?
No, no. My wife bought me a Harley for my 50th birthday, and for 2 years I never left the parking lot.
Is that right?
Nah, man, I can't think like that. That's a Can-Am. It's shift for you. It's just like a
automatic.
well, it's,
Automatic.
yeah, it's a paddle shift. So
Mhm.
Okay.
I checking it out, seeing what my next step's gonna be, because I had one before, but it got totaled out. So
Okay.
kind of miss it, getting out there, just hitting it wide enough in the front so people see it.
Right.
Nobody ever pulled out in front of me when I had my other one. So I'm looking at moving things around. But man, just because you're a clergy and a pastor, you got to understand that we gotta become touchable in reality, and it's real. Certain things that people don't like motorcycles, don't like riding like that, and I get that. But as a clergy, a pastor, we like having fun too. So
So I heard. So anyway, one of the reasons why you're here is that you have joined the WNOV family.
yes.
Yeah, and you're gonna, yeah, man. It's so you will be with us on Sundays from 7 to 8.
7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Just in case people don't know who Pastor Robert Pyles is, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Pastor Pyles. I came in the city in 1998. What brought me here was a McDonald's. I owned quite a few, pretty much all of them in the city at one time. And I had 15 years in the military, Air Force, disabled veteran. So they called me the business pastor.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I think that the mark that I said is that when they say kingdom, it's not a church term. Getting away from the traditional mind of thinking, and that comes from inside how we think. So my whole thing going forward and even afterward is just having the people be in a place to where we should be at, that we have a voice, have a weight, mobility, and have a chance to weigh in on some stuff that we should be weighing in on. So that's what to strengthen the people, making them stronger.
You describe yourself as the business pastor.
Yes,
Why
sir.
is that?
Well, number one is that a lot of folks won't call me because I'm a pastor. They call me because of McDonald's. That's the first thing. Second thing is that they try to separate the two. People try to separate the ministry from like a page with the state and church and all that. But I believe this is one man, one goal. I'm the business pastor. That's why I'm still the same guy. So whenever you hear me talk, I put a demand on everything we're doing, everything the kingdom has been looked at as just a spiritual thing. But I believe that when he came speaking, making the spiritual natural. And we keep trying to revert it back to the spirit, and it's a heaven on earth. So when they call me the business pastor, I have quite a few people that I mentor. Wrote several books on the Big Six on business, and what I related to, Keith, I related to, it's all kingdom. So when you really get down, the world have taken a biblical principle and applied it to their lives, and the people in the ministry we just got lost on that one. We got lost on that. We pray for things that should be medicated, and we medicate things that should be prayed for. So we got to know the difference in the two, the difference between the opportunity and taking a chance, and then the choice. Chance won't get us there. I'm right chance. Now it's a choice you make that get us over the top. So
part of I don't want to say it's a residual effect of our enslavement is how we've been taught about God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And this idea that our ancestors were told because of the brutality of enslavement that they should defer any hope for any earthly enjoyment because they're going to get that when they get to heaven. Obviously, you have a problem with that theology.
Well, I definitely have a problem with it because I would hate to live this life, right, and get to heaven and figure out that I'm supposed to have brought heaven to earth. I don't have a mansion when I say so, per se. I don't have a job in heaven. There's no vacancies where he needs me to come up there and preach, sing, or whatever. He needs me to do that here. So people trying to get to heaven, and I tell them we need to send them. Let the other ones go. I can wait. My great grandmother on my wife's side, she I guess in-law. She they had two plots. They had one plot left. They was burying the one uncle, and he told the other grandson, told him, "Well, Mama, Mama, I'll flip you for that spot there." She said, "You can have it." Then you got to flip for it. So, right. Really, Keith, you hit it on the head when you said that it's a slave mentality. We say we kings, we say we leaders and all that, but there is a training. We're taught to please. We're taught to please the master, to please somebody else, to please this and do that. When in all actuality, it's a slave, and I can't get to where I need to go unless I please somebody. That's a mindset. So, and then we're taught like God is angry. We're taught like He's mad at us. We talk like well, it must be something, and it can be. I in the church, I have folks say stuff. The devil flattened my tire. I said the devil ain't flattened no tire on that car. I saw them tires bald last week. You need to get some new tires. And I don't think the devil bothered. I don't think the devil out there messing with you because I'm not present. He can't be everywhere at all times.
God is telling you something's time to replace those tires.
Well, we don't need God to. We don't need God to tell us that. We need God to tell us the lottery numbers. He's gonna tell me something. Tell me the lottery number. I can tell your tires bald. You can take that down to Ben Kearns on 76. He'll tell your tires bald. When you slide in that rain, it tells you. So it's all kind of things that'll tell you.
Hydroplaning
when it ain't even raining. So it's some things we say. This if you think twice, they'll think you're a genius. And one thing, a book I wrote, it's called The Big Six, and what it does is it teaches you to listen. And the bad thing about it teaches you to listen. Half the time we ain't saying nothing. Half the time it's just like Charlie Brown. Remember Charlie Brown, Mama, when they would talk growing up, wobble, 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 wobble. And people are surprised when you really listen to what they're saying. You say, what'd you just say? And he must be mad at me. I'm glad God put me. God didn't put you in prison. God didn't call that to happen. You don't break your child's leg to prove and He teaches by the word. And then if you don't listen to the word, principles will teach you. Life will teach you. Don't do that no more. So we've been taught a whole picture that the picture has been painted of how we're supposed to believe. And I believe if you read the Bible, not how you believe, but believe what you read, you'll see a whole different God inside. If you don't know the God of the Bible, you won't understand the Bible when you read it. So I believe the Bible is common sense. Some things just, man, don't do that. Don't say that. So the whole thing that Abundant Faith Church of Integrity says is that I want a usual pastor. I felt out of place, especially when I first started out, because some of the things we would sit in church and we would talk about ain't about money, but we're gonna take an offering up here in about 30 minutes. And the church I was in, we're not going in until we got what we need. And it makes sense so that, I would say, hey, man, let's go ahead and figure out what they need so we can move on. That's the mindset I had. So faith don't beg. God tells us to do it, ask, and people give. So the widow woman, Elijah didn't beg her. God had already talked to her. So that's my whole thing, man. And it's gonna take some time, but once we get the ball rolling, understanding that, you begin to just question the things that we've been told.
So, what can people expect from your radio program?
Well, I expect them to leave. That hour is going to be an hour that every day, that every week they should get better. I'm not trying to transform overnight. If you get better every day, bigger, better, and bolder by faith, bigger, better, and bolder. That means that when you come on, it's going to teach you how to see the world, not only God, we say the church, in a different way. But I want to open their eyes up. I really want to have their eyes wide open, and keep it's easy to manipulate people who don't know. So sometimes we are doing things that's dangerous to what has been taught. So when you open up people's eyes, and they can think for themselves. They can look at it and say, "Man, you know what? You're right. You're right. You're right." That I felt it, because I can tell you this: whatever I'm saying, most people feel it. Man, something ain't right. I sit in the front row as a minister at the time, and I would be confused on what the church would say and do.
What caused confusion?
Well, I think that they talk about we would pray for folks without asking God, are they gonna live or not? And we were coming in. I've seen preachers, we prayed to paint out the wall, and the mother died. Right. So never ask God what's gonna happen. Never ask that question. Secondly, is that we just go with the same old cliche in church. If it don't work, we keep doing it. I know in business, man, if it ain't working, we change it. But church, we keep trying to do the same thing. We are archaic, right? And we're not going to be the young folks don't understand our language. Before I preach, I talk to several young folks, and I preach to them because they don't understand the language we're saying. When we talk about Vacation Bible School, they don't resonate with them. They don't. I know a Vacation Bible School, and I told some young folks in church, I said some of the things that we are trying to do, I wouldn't even come to it if I wasn't a pastor sometime.
But aren't you in churches in general are in a situation where there is the people who support your church financially
Most definitely
are usually the people who are most resistant to change.
right.
So how do you move them?
Well, number time, God give us wisdom. God give you wisdom. But I think if you sit down and lay it all out most of the time, I'm not saying all the time. A lot of times we want folks just to move out of feeling. Man, you like me, you love the pastor. I don't want you to I don't want you to just support me, because everybody want to be liked. But we got to have, this doesn't make sense. If you sit there and you look at the numbers, we had that, nobody showed up. We had a concert, McDonald's we did. The last one we did was Eddie, was it Murphy?
Bishop William Murphy?
Bishop William Murphy, we did it down there. And the showing wasn't that good. And the guy said, "Well, next year," I said, "Ain't gonna be no next year, dog." We can put that money somewhere else. Am I right?
That's right.
We can support some stuff that people want to go to.
Mhm.
I think, guys, we're not busy. I said the business pastor, and I'm not talking about sin. I'm not definitely being the church. Man, that's the best thing going. That's the best thing going. But that doesn't mean that we have to keep perfecting and tweaking, because we have to remain relevant. I think we remain relevant. So instead of having that, we'll put that in something else to bring the kids together. Because if they don't come, you can't preach to somebody ain't there. So I think that I'm not beating the church up. I'm telling you, it's the best thing going. But with me, I sit there with you all day, 2-3 hours. These folks ain't gonna sit there in 2 hours no more. They're not gonna come back. So and also I've had folks that had money that tried to stop some things, but I thank God it ain't money that we make our decision of. It's now something it's in there, but if someone had to leave the church, I had to swallow that one. I won't. I ain't gonna say I won't not listen to the money and not listen to God first. And I've had that. I've had people that support stuff, but God showed up and showed out on some things. And I promise you, because everybody's not gonna love you. Everybody's not gonna support. You got to get that. So that's the thing that in the beginning you try to get that basis. So I've been lucky in one instance that when you go into situations, some pastors go into situations that the church is already established. You got those families in there, and you going in there trying to. And that's a whole different strategy. We're non-denomination. We had changed and restarted.
I was going to ask you that. So, what was your coming up? What was your tradition?
I was a little bit of everything. I was Baptist.
You said a little bit of
A little bit of everything, man. I tell you, I was Baptist. I was came through Baptist holiness, and then Church of God in Christ before I came out here, and then I went into Foundation of Prayer Evangelistic Ministry for several years, and then we changed the name and moved to Titonia, and that's when we became Abundant Faith.
How has your many different life experiences prepared you to be a pastor and a minister and a clergy?
Well, I've always, let me tell people, I've always been a pastor. It's the call has always been there. The call has been there. I told them I had McDonald Missionary Baptist Church was the first church I had, because what people don't realize, man, I do more ministry there than I do in the church, and we have to realize that that's a trick too. That my occupation is my occupation. Man, I love what I'm doing. When I say I love McDonald's, I love McDonald's. Really, I love serving people. I love solving problems. And when you got at one time, I was the largest African American employer in the state. But I'm running over here trying to evangelize to these people. While I got 1,200 people in front of me need the word. So I really have focused myself. My experience have taught me is that God has planted you where you need to be. And we won't even witness to our family. We won't even minister to our family, but we'll go down here and do it. Right? People in Brookfield need to be saved too. People out there on 76 need to be saved too, not just on 27 Capitol. So it's all over. But what I teach in our ministry is that if you ain't ministering to your family, the people you see every day, what you gonna say when you go to the prison? You can't. My experiences, my family really taught me most of all. My family, they'll teach you, because your family's straightforward. They'll tell you straight up. Right. You know, they're gonna talk about you. They're gonna do all that. So it prepares you for that. But being in the military, all that, man, it really gave me I had to become what I'm not. Mm-hmm. In the military, they don't care nothing about who you are and all that. This is how you do this. This is what we say. And if you don't do it, you go to jail. See, McDonald's, I can't put you in jail, but in the military, you go to jail. Mm-hmm. They put you in confinement. So those are things that I learned, that the military is more so like we talk about the kingdom. Mm-hmm. You know, you got a king. There is no voting. We didn't vote on what uniform to wear. I could put on what I want on my uniform. So when I come to church, I had to, certain things that we are doing, we don't do. Certain things we can, it's not heaven or hell, but this is why we follow certain orders and we do certain things and explain that. But that really helped me, man, because I have a reality, you know, being in different countries, coming from an all-black city, Hobson City, Alabama. I've never really had partners like white guys. I go in the military, my first roommate is an Indian guy. Mm-hmm. Who never left the reservation to basic training. The only black guy he ever saw in face to face was on TV. And TV, then with the basic training, he saw face to face. He's prejudiced all I do. Mm-hmm. I found out I was too. I listened to one type of music, right? Me and my guys, we listen to one type of music. I don't want to play no golf. I don't want to play no tennis. I don't play football, basketball. I did not realize how handicapped I was for life. I had to learn all that. So I spent majority of my time playing catch up. So and I learned how small I was. I learned how small my problem was. I met a young man in basic training. I was sitting there, thought I had it tough. My single mother, 9 children. I thought I had a story. But man, he was in there. His sister then was his dependent because his mother was on crack cocaine out of Chicago. And he had raised him since he was 14. Man, I took my story and balled it up and threw it in the trash can. I ain't got nothing to complain about. So that's what that experience does to me.
Pastor Robert Pyles, pastor of the Abundant Faith of Integrity of Milwaukee. Again, tell folks, do your promo for your program, man. Listen up. Sunday morning from 7 to 8. Listen, I think WNOV gonna start charging streaming that they're gonna start doing this. You don't have to pay to watch that
But at 7 or 8 o'clock, guys, we're gonna have these kind of conversations because I promise you this, guys, your life will never be the same again because I put a demand on that hour. We're gonna put a demand on the hour that when you listen to that, every area of your life will change. He wants you to prosper, and if not only just your soul, but everything around you has to be raised to the same level. So this is Pastor Pyles. I'm the business pastor. I want you to tune in with me, WNOV. I'm a part of the family now.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna get my birth certificate.
Yeah, you
I'm
get some
getting
other
paid.
good. We got some other
Oh,
goodies too, man.
I got some more goodies.
Yeah, we got some
He
good.
got
All right,
you-
all
he
right.
got your
I love
shirt
you, man.
already,
Thank
man.
you.
You know he
Yeah.
got his shirt already.
You got a shirt
Yeah,
already?
Cause you had to say that shit. That's how folks do. They,
yeah. Got his stuff.
I could have got 2 shirts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's official. Now you said we're gonna do some laughing.
Oh yeah, man. Listen. I laugh at the funeral. I'm gonna laugh at the
Oh,
funeral.
there's some
I'm
stuff
gonna
you can
smile.
laugh at the funeral for.
Oh yeah. Listen,
Absolutely. I've seen that.
because if you can't raise them, you might as well go ahead and rejoice and let's think. Because I think that that's healthy is laughter and like you expect the more. Man, you got to enjoy this thing. I'm not gonna be booted and stuck up and all that.
Oh,
Man, listen, I love laughing. So you're gonna hear a lot of that. You're gonna hear a lot of that. I'm transparent.
man, appreciate you. I like that, man. I think that's gonna be used someplace. You
Which
can't
one?
raise them, but you so can't praise them. I like that, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm not gonna say gonna be. Oh man, thank you
It
for
was
some
one other
preaching
one he
material.
said earlier in there that I like too. I can't remember what it was. What was he said about? Never mind.
There's a
It'll come
bunch
back.
of nuggets.
A lot of, yeah, all of them.
All of
He-
them. All of them.
he
Yeah.
definitely shot some gems out there this morning.
Mhm.
Pastor Robert Pyles, appreciate you, man. Welcome
you.
to the family.
Thank you.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. from his experience, and that was a great question when you talk about how life experiences really impact certainly your calling, and that might be divine in terms of God is saying, you can use this particular gift or use this particular gift. So good.
Yeah, I had a life experience yesterday. Never inviting them Negroes back to my house.
You know what? I thought about you yesterday, Debo.
Yeah, man.
I knew because you won that that cook off that you had to have folks at your house.
I only did like 12 slabs.
Yeah, see, I didn't know Keith was gonna do something, but but the way you laid it down, you said, this is what I do.
Did Sloppy Joe sliders yesterday too.
Oh, the contest sliders.
Yeah, the ones that if I would have had some different information, I would have done differently. So I did the recipe yesterday.
Oh, so they didn't give you all of this backstory that goes with that.
It was a little bit confusing because we were supposed to have 250 1-ounce servings. And I didn't know if that was inclusive, if I could, bring it in. So one of the dings I got was it said the people who might have had the sample, some people actually did get sliders. But the people who just got the sample to Sloppy Joe said they really wanted bread. So I was able to do this recipe.
So in essence, you ran out of buns.
Well, I just stopped using them and gave people the samples, yeah.
Oh.
So you didn't really run out. You just stopped using.
Yeah, I mean, if I asked them, do you want on a bun? Some people said yes, some people said no. But next year I will do.
No, that ain't your fault.
Well, no, but I do think that how you serve it is how it comes.
So like how everybody, how one person get it, everybody should get it that way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I learned from it. You can't judge it if you don't get the full experience.
Right. And I
but if I ask for it without the bun.
Yeah, but you don't get to do that. Either you want to taste this or you don't. This is how it comes.
Well, and
he shouldn't get dinged for that then.
Sure he should.
You think so?
Because he deviated from what he do.
Well, that's a rookie mistake.
The whole experience is his slider. Yeah. What makes it a slider? The whole package.
True. There you go. Rookie mistake.
Thanks, Coach.
We still learning.
Coach, get on back in there. Get your butt back on in there and compete. Let's go. Put me in, Coach. 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. I met Vivian King's mom yesterday.
You did, huh?
Yeah, she was by my sister's house yesterday, and
I went over there yesterday.
Big wigs.
Yeah, so you there after we left.
You guys hang out with big wigs for that.
Man.
Yeah, they said that you was there.
Yeah.
Just get cousin Ray and them come by.
G stopped through.
Really?
Garland stopped through. Yeah.
You guys are
man. My sister's a major baller.
High cotton. That's
high cotton. And so Vivian posted, but I her mom is here with her now. And so it was really very nice to meet her. She met my mom. My mom was there. So
Miss Cliffy was there.
Miss Cliffy was there. She made a public appearance.
Yeah,
wow. She sure did. Oh, she was still there when you were there, right?
Yeah.
I
mean, she ain't driving.
That's true. That's
anymore.
I know some 90-year-olds who are still driving though. But once she just kind of shut it down, she shut it down. It was, and we were going back and forth because there was a little bit of impairment when she was driving, and but we didn't have to take the keys. She just voluntarily said, "Hey,
oh man, some people you got to take the keys."
I know.
My mom has pretty much. She still has she renews and go get a new car here or there, but she. As often as she drives it, I tell her you're just wasting money.
Isn't it a certain time where they do have to renew it?
Yeah. And it came up, and they probably weren't going to. They probably weren't.
Is it because of age or eyesight or both?
Both.
They factor all of that in,
right? And I think you would need something from your doctor. Yeah, saying that you're
because they're gonna do the vision piece on you anyway. You're gonna stick your head up there, and they're gonna tell you what you see on your left. But it's the cognitive part of it too that comes into play.
Man, dude, I know you told me that the last Bad Boys was good, but
you gonna hate on the
Beverly Hills?
I knew you was going. I told them that you was gonna hate on.
What did you think? It was awful, man. I
didn't think it was awful. I thought it was good for what it was. It was all right.
Now the young woman who played his daughter
Mm-hmm. But
she's
been an actress for a while now.
And I think the only people from the original is Ronnie Cox.
Well, Sarge
Taggart is in it.
Yep. And then the other dude,
Judge Reinhold, is in it. Surge is in it.
Who?
Surge,
Who's
the
that?
guy that was at the art at the art museum.
Oh.
So we have him.
Oh,
Taggart,
yeah. I knew he looked old and familiar. I just didn't.
Yeah. And I walked away.
Did you watch Bad Boys though?
Not yet. I'll wait till it comes on cable.
You're a fool for that.
But here's what I'm getting from it.
Parris actually liked.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
We got old dudes.
No, she didn't watch it. She said because I said that it was good, she'll go watch it.
Okay. Did she show you the sign? You see the sign?
Mm-mm.
It was on the refrigerator. I named the Sloppy Joes after Parris.
Mm.
And so I had the sign from the men that cook, and it's Keith Parris, and then it's Parris's favorite Sloppy Joes. And I heard it set off a bit of a discussion in the house because Amaris was saying, well, the only reason why he's using you is because I'm not here. And I responded to my sister, well, that and the fact that, when it comes to my Sloppy Joes, Parris hypes them. Between Parris and here's another name I'll drop, Tanya Conner. Those are the folks who, man, make me really feel special. But I did watch Beverly.
And she knows something about food because her mama always throwing down.
Oh yeah. And getting compliments. My cousin.
Shout out to Miss Janice.
My cousin Natalie was there, and she's a Perkins, and so I asked. She told me what she thought, and I go like, if you're a Perkins, food. Good food, not just food, good food. So it turned out to be very nice. A lot of folks came through. And so it was good. But back to this Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. It should get an F.
Come on, man.
It was garbage.
You gotta
You got old dudes trying to play the old roles they played back. And when I'm sitting up and thinking about that movie's almost the original's like 40.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You
one of Eddie Murphy's sons need to play, Axel Foley.
But they don't give the charisma. Well, we don't even know. I don't think any of them wanted to put forth the effort of being an actor, because that's big shoes to fill. Big ups to Denzel Washington's son.
Yeah, he's
solid.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, he's solid. But to fill Denzel's shoes, and obviously,
right,
when you say no, I wanna get it in my own right. I don't want to be looked at as Denzel's son, but that is your father. So people are gonna be like,
I always had a father with some. You think I'm not gonna drop his name every chance I get? Well, I'm DJ's son, right?
He sound like Denzel a little bit too.
Yeah, kind of look like him.
But his daughter, she's an model. She's actually in the movie. She's the one who arrests him.
Okay.
And she's an aspiring actress as well.
You really went into some deep background on that because
I just knew who his daughter was.
It was hard. It's hard because and maybe I'm reacting because then it's an indication that I'm aging.
Because what's her name, Nicole? I think that's her mother. So both of them are attractive women. His ex-wife and his daughter, and so they had a little like excerpt on them years back. So I always knew what his daughter looked like.
Okay, we got to clean up on aisle 6. Correction, Mary said it because she doesn't eat beef anymore.
Oh, she listening.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Amaris hadn't eaten beef. Ooh, it's been a minute.
Probably since 2020.
Yeah. Longer than that. So anyway, it was and of course, happy birthday, Amaris.
It is.
Today is Amaris's birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, like in the words of Brandon, you getting up there.
Yeah. Brandon's was the 3rd.
Yeah.
Caitlin's was the 3rd. And we have Amaris today. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday
to my favorite niece. Ferris was my favorite niece last Sunday because she was the only niece
there. There you go. He causing trouble in the house.
It was funny. A post came up that I had did a few years back, and I was talking about and really just like 3 nieces, and so Amaris calls me Uncle Keith. Uncle Keith, the way she does Uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Adriana calls me Unc. And then Parris calls me crazy. So.
Is it only, I mean, all of those would fit.
Well, thank you again, Debo. You, man, I'm going to walk out of here today with my self-esteem like.
Up here, yeah.
Here. I mean,
we're boosting you up, man.
Yeah.
You're the man. But I said with Bad Boys 3, you got to take it for what it is. And Bad Boys 3 wasn't a bad movie.
Wow.
It was straight.
And
but
cleanup sounds like.
But Axel, it was all right. You know, obviously, like I said, all of these spin-offs or remakes, everybody's having these kids now. You know, everybody got kids. So they introducing their long lost daughter or son into the script, and
you know what, you
just playing off
you know
that.
What you leaning towards, right?
What?
Dare I say it? Sound like you're leaning towards giving this movie
a pass.
Is it? Are you leaning that way?
No, I'm not giving it a pass.
Let me do it. Also, Fahim is in town.
Fahim, yeah.
Fahim. Oh, he was so funny yesterday.
I asked him yesterday. I said, "Man, do you get tired?" He said, "No."
He was worn down there a little bit. Then he caught a second win.
He definitely caught his second win by the time I got there.
Yeah,
but he didn't take no nap. They said
he didn't. He was little when we first got there. He just got out the waiting pool.
Okay,
and you could tell he's a little irritable. But once he got the second win, man, he was everything. I didn't realize I'm getting old, man.
He's 3.
Yeah, but Amaris is 28.
Damn, you just gonna say her age
well,
like that?
I think when you're young, it's not the same as
I think all women are funny.
No, but man, I'm getting. Wow, I'm really getting old, man. Maybe that's why that's why I'm having such a.
The fact that Amaris' birthday is shedding light on you getting old. That's
it's not just Amaris'
that's telling
birthday.
To me.
That's not just Amaris' birthday. I just get up in the morning. That's a reminder. But you know what? Air is better than dirt.
It is.
And if I'm feeling pain, that means I'm still living, right? Yeah. So, man, everybody, and it was something Pastor said, and I think it sounded like he was alluding to that scripture, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord.
That's what they said.
But somebody else said, everybody won't go to heaven, and nobody want to die. There you go. I had a coworker back in the day, and she go, "Oh, my birthday is just like any other day." I said, "You ignorant." You kidding? Man. And ever since I was little, birthdays, man, you get to another birthday.
That's an accomplishment.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
It's an accomplishment.
Oh man, it's an accomplishment. And a lot of it's me. A lot of it is just what it is. When your number comes up, your number comes up. So
Keith, a good friend of mine, funeral director, always would ask, man, how you doing? He said, "Well, I'm still riding up front."
There you go.
Still riding up front.
It was funny. I don't know if this was a local funeral director. I heard this and said how much they hate flowers, because they said it's interesting. We send flowers to funerals and the flowers are going to die. Yeah. It's now again, if you're in the floral business, we won't, but it's one of those interesting things. Got to call it.
There's no great expectations on florists because as long as they look pretty when they arrive, what happens after that, that's on you.
Mm-hmm. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Keith. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
I understand you do that birthday too.
What did he say?
Mm-hmm. You got to do that birthday too.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next Friday.
Yeah. Hey, mine was the third, just like your people you were talking about.
Well, happy belated birthday, man.
I hit 73. Check that out.
Wow.
I almost can't believe it myself. And then-
You almost can't believe
Almost can't believe it.
it. But then there are those days when you go to do a certain thing and move a certain way, you believe it, don't you?
Oh man, real talk. Well, man, happy belated birthday.
Yep, happy birthday.
It's sweet to be here, man. And I went to the parade in Franklin yesterday.
Okay.
For one of my daughters, and my daughter owns the Milwaukee's. She's at Milwaukee Market.
Mm. Yeah, I see where now she's her barbecue
Really?
sauce is going to be in stores. Pat's barbecue sauce.
Already in store.
Yeah, that I saw a nice little piece on that where it's going to say, just in case people don't know, Pat's Ribs that used to be out in Waukesha is now down at City Market.
Milwaukee Market.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Oh my God, man! If you ever
Is this the young lady that was the sister to or cousin to Oprah or something like that?
Oprah's niece.
Oprah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And she named the restaurant after her mother. Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate you.
Have a good day.
All right.
See you in church.
Yes, sir. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You're on air.
That's Keon.
Good morning to you guys.
Good morning.
You know, I heard you talking about getting old, and yeah, well, it's a spiritual awakening, I guess, when a person realizes that this is a one-ride carousel. You know, life is up and down, and once you ride it, the man upstairs pull the lever and say, "Get off! You can't get back in line." And
Or the woman.
tickets and want to ride life again.
Or the woman upstairs.
And I did this thing called Born to Die. Once upon unto a man that died, and then after that, the judgment. And, you know, I found out something, man, that all of the exercises that we do, all of the workout, all of the eating the vitamins, the cocoa butters and the creams and all of this stuff, the vitamins that we take, I found out the secret to not getting old. I found it out, man.
Yeah, dying.
Yeah.
Dying. That's how you don't get old.
Yep. Die young.
Yep.
That's right. That's the whole secret to it. So we all want to get old, but when you're driving down the road, you got about 400-500 miles ahead of you, and you start realizing, man, that it's a one-way ticket out of here, dude. Ain't no turning back. You on your way out. That's it.
But the interesting thing was you could say that we were on our way out once we got here.
Oh,
because we have children who might take one breath and die.
That's right.
You know,
hey, listen here. When a man is born, he's born to die. He started dying right then. Believe it or not, we've been placed on death row at the beginning of birth. Once we were pushed through our mother's birth canal, we were then placed on death row. It's sort of like a state prisoner. We were found guilty inside of our mother's womb. Okay.
Wait, whoa.
Come on now.
Okay, man. I'm you preaching, so I'm gonna let you go on and preach.
No, I thought you was finna give me some action. You can't.
No, I'm gonna let you go on and preach. No.
The thing is that we were on trial for 9 long months inside of our mother's womb.
No, we were developing in our mother's womb.
Hold on.
Theologically, do you remember any of your theological experiences in the womb?
Let me say this to you. There are some people that can.
Who?
Some people, they write these old crazy books. I don't know whether it's true or not. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they can.
Man, no.
So
you know, it's like the people who said that they died and they went to heaven and they came back from death. And I know that people want to believe that. I guess you can and you can't, but people talk about when you look, we're talking clinically dead. We're talking clinically dead. This means that you are dead. No heartbeat, no brain activity. You are dead.
Brother, there have been certain instances where there's been no brain activity and no heartbeat, and the person still come back. Some people have been buried, getting ready to be buried or going to the freezer to be froze to death.
Now that's happened. But then you could say technically they weren't dead.
Well, that's
biologically they weren't dead. Biologically they weren't.
Well, now who's to say that?
Yeah, my mother was talking about Benny Hinn back in the day, and my mom, just her insight sometimes just amazes me. And she said, "You know what? If he got the power to heal, how come he ain't going to hospitals?"
Well,
And I would like, you know what? Because that's where some sick people are. Not the people you paid to come to your crusade and fake sick. You know, there's some real sick people in the hospital. You go and get that dude out the
You get a real
ICU.
testimonial out of them hospitals.
There you go. Let that person, when they've gone to the family and told the family, there's nothing else we can do. The person is brain dead. You need to make a decision. Now, if you bring them back from that kind of dead,
look, brother, all systems is a fail at that point. All systems stop at that point because you're in the hospital. There's no faith left because your faith was
faith. I still got faith. I got faith that those doctors are going to do what they need to do to get me through. Yeah, and so when people, and that's great how, you know, we have put such a premium on hyper superstition and the Lord. No, baby. If you sick, go to the doctor.
That God deals in the affairs of man.
He can. I'm sorry. Did I say he? She can.
Hold on. Where are you getting off talking about she? Where you coming from, brother?
Because I know that set you off.
He's looking for one this morning.
Right.
I knew that would get your voices went up 4 octaves.
He said she like 6 times.
You missed it a couple times. You just so mellow today, but yeah, he done came at you a couple.
Did you hear that voice though? That voice went up, man.
I can't believe it. Anyway, big brother, I was just talking about being on trial for a crime that we had not committed.
What was that?
Sin, the ultimate, the fall of man.
I thought we go get through the week and not have to talk about sin. Are we back at sin? Here we go. Can we get through a week and we don't have to talk about sin? Why don't we talk about virtue as opposed to talking about sin? Why don't we accentuate the positive as opposed to elevating the negative?
Virtue is a great thing. Virtue is a free gift, the gift of life that God has given. See, virtue is a gift, a free gift given by God. Some people call it a talent. Some people call it whatever. But I
call it a behavior.
Huh?
It's a behavior.
It's a behavior, but it's a gift, some sort of gift. Okay. Everybody don't have a virtue of everything. I mean, virtue of life, God gave us that.
So let me ask you this question, brother. Let me ask you this question. So is sex recreational?
Oh, man.
Well, it has become, and I enjoy it. But it was really for a recreation. I mean, we were having this discussion not too long ago about the serpent seed. How some people believe that Eve actually had sex with Satan.
Well, whatever. I don't know about all that. I didn't read all that. Is that which translation do I get that one out of? New Living Translation, Contemporary English Version, New King James? Where I find that one?
Listen, she was beguiled by Satan.
She was beguiled by Satan.
Man, I ain't gonna talk like that over the radio.
She was beguiled.
All the stuff you didn't say it on the radio, you gonna choose now to not talk like that?
Show some restraint.
Hey, man, this is an imposter. Where's Meech?
Where's Meech?
Put Meech on the phone.
This is AI. This ain't Meech. This is AI.
I gotta get out of here, man. Happy holidays.
Hey, same to you, man.
Be safe, and I'll try to finish the week out and doing the same.
All right, man. Peace.
Yeah. Put Meech on the phone.
Put Meech on the phone.
I'm not gonna talk like that on the radio. Yeah. When do you stop that? Wow. No, this is.
He almost clutched his pearl.
Oh, jeez. No passes given.
Oh my God, that's a Democratic move when they clutch their pearls. That's Democrat. Anyway, you're listening to Community Voice. It's Friday. Joined in studio by DJ, Debo, Harvey, and me. We're going to take a quick break.
You got a special guest on the other side of the break?
If it happens.
Okay.
All right.
See what it do.
See what it do.
All right.
We'll be right back. The voice and the phone lines are open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. So I see that that Bronny James has been signed to a 2-year contract.
4.
Hmm?
4.
2 is guaranteed, though, right?
All of us guaranteed.
They gave him a 4-year guaranteed contract for a second round pick. That's second round.
Yeah.
The last round. Wow. Well, don't tell me who your daddy is. Don't matter.
Somebody said if they see you a picture of Bronny James, that means my kid's coming too.
Nah, that should be a picture of LeBron.
Well, we'll see. They said that it made business sense for the Lakers to do it. Just to hold that I guess it's a contract spot they have, and it would be just cheaper for them to do it that way. If they go out and try to sign, well, there's no free agents now. Most of the free agents now have been gobbled up. But if they were trying to sign somebody, they must already be at luxury tax.
Yeah.
And then there's another tier above that.
They had the second. They're in the second apron right now,
apron.
Just like the Bucks.
Yeah. So, well, we'll see.
How do you think, DJ? I mean, you're the renowned authority on the matter. You and Keith could go back and forth on this, I'm certain. How do you think the Bucks fared in this offseason? With draft and everything else.
I think they still have some moves to make. They are limited as far as signing people just because they're like the Lakers where they cap strap. So they can only sign minimal players. But what about Pat Beverly? I think
Giannis's that brother. What are they gonna do with that piece?
I think this gives them the opportunity to get somebody else because he tore his Achilles.
Does that give them the opportunity to now part ways with him?
Yeah, because he's a free agent.
They could keep him on as like a
water boy.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, but
I mean, look at Udonis Haslem. He was basically a coach for the Heat for I would say the last 3 years he was playing at least. So they could do something with that. And like I said, he never really hurt the Bucks. It was the players that was actually on the floor playing that hurt the Bucks.
Okay.
They did get a guy from the Lakers, Taurean Prince, who hopefully he is helpful on the defensive side.
Tayshaun Prince's first cousin.
Really?
Yeah. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Morning, Keith. This is Mayor Cavalier Johnson. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
I thought he had the
I'm
special.
Doing excellent.
I thought the mayor had the special number, man. He just called in on the request line, huh? Maybe he was listening to the show and wanted to, chime in on the Bucks or something.
Chime in a little bit.
Go ahead, Keith.
How you doing? Just joining us on the line, the Honorable Cavalier Johnson, the mayor of the city of Milwaukee. Good morning again. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Keith. Good morning. I'm doing excellent. Thanks for taking some time with me this morning.
How was the 4th?
Oh, it was great. That's my favorite holiday. It's a really busy day. I'm, at 4th of July parades and events all over the city, and then took the family down to fireworks in one of the parks last night, and it delivered really well, and folks were really happy. So I was happy about that too.
It was interesting, man, because I don't know what time you were able to go to sleep, man. We had fireworks going to about 11:30 last night. And last time I checked, fireworks are still illegal in the city of Milwaukee.
You're right. Fireworks are still illegal in the city of Milwaukee, with the exception of those professionally set off, as we had in 10 county parks in the city limits yesterday.
So you're part of now. Are you going to be in Madison today with the president?
No, I will not be in Madison today. I'm doing my job here on that front.
But the president is visiting Wisconsin today. What do you think in terms of we can't avoid it after what had happened at the debate? How important is his performance going forward, based on what we saw a couple of Thursdays? Was it last Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is, I think, the president's 5th trip to the state of Wisconsin this year. So, I mean, that just goes to show how invested he is in the people of Wisconsin and working to make sure that he asks for their vote. And he shows the positive track record that his administration has had over the course of the last 3.5 years. And I say 3.5 years because I think folks have to frame it in this context, right? There was 90 minutes, and I mean, the president admitted himself, right? It wasn't his best debate performance. In fact, he didn't even debate as well as he used to. However, he's had a pretty remarkable administration over the course of these last 3.5 years here, and folks should judge on the totality. But talking about the debate itself, though, I mean, so President Biden didn't have a pretty delivery on the substance, and Donald Trump did have a pretty delivery a lot.
It was pretty clear. His lies were pretty clear. They got through all of that, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, every 90. I mean, this is not even me just saying this as a Biden surrogate. I mean, the network that both campaigns agreed to do the debate on clocked Donald Trump at a lie every about 90 seconds in that debate. I think he set a record for the most lies ever told in a single presidential debate. And again, that's not just me saying that. That's the network his campaign agreed to do, this debate with. So I think folks have to pay attention to that as well. But these are the points I think that folks also need to consider. There have been 8 post-debate public polls that have really showed the same thing, and that's that the presidential race has fundamentally remained the same. According to the New York Times, a 3-point move towards Trump is not a fundamental change in the race. Historically, a 3-point shift after the first debate isn't unusual. In fact, it's the norm. I was telling folks the other day, I'm old enough to remember the first presidential debate in 2012 when the Democratic nominee, Joe Biden's former boss, former President Obama, he didn't do too hot in the first presidential election, then of course went on to win re-election and serve a second term. So I think that's important for folks to remember as well.
But and I remember that debate. I also remember, I think it was Reagan in 84. Now the difference between Obama and Reagan was actually dealing with the onset of dementia and Alzheimer's. Obama is still relatively young, just had one of those bad debates. It's like Nixon Kennedy. I think, and if we just keeping it 100, the fear is this something that manifests itself on a regular? And so how important then is it for the president to say this was just a one-off? This can happen to all of us, right? And we need to be able to move on. But there is, in a lot of people's mind, this concern about, is this indicative of something more lasting? Can I say more lasting? Or this is just one of those, you're in the moment and we're going to move on. I think the other thing is we have the convention here next week. Trump is going to get a bump just because conventions, you usually get a bump after nomination.
Yeah. That much like this, as what was said in the New York Times, from the New York Times pollster, it's the norm after the first debate. That's also the norm that after the convention, whichever party has their national convention, that there is a bump. So we're likely to see the same thing happen, I would imagine, in August as well after the DNC has concluded. And I guess the other thing what's worth noting too is that in these polls, the president narrowed Trump's edge among independent voters, and his fundraising, his grassroots fundraising, has skyrocketed, soared even after the debate performance. So I think there's a lot of noise out there about where the president is and what he's thinking, what his cognitive ability is. He's been doing a lot of appearances off teleprompter, on camera, in groups of people. He even met with a number of Democratic governors from across the country at the White House just recently, and everybody's like, yeah, this is the performance was an isolated incident. Everybody can have a bad night. The president is able to do the job. He's been doing the job over the last 3.5 years, and we're looking forward to seeing him continue to do the job over the course of the next term.
There is a considerable amount of undecided voters. Can you speak to some of the issues that the president will have to tap in order to sway those undecided voters to swing Wisconsin and the national election?
Yeah, I think the president's got to touch base or touch on those things that these voters care about. I mean, they care about issues surrounding our economy, and as it relates to the economy, I mean, the president's administration, with the economic agenda that they have, has been growing jobs over the course of his term. Some 15, nearly 16 million jobs created in the United States under Joe Biden's leadership.
206,000 just added last month. The jobs report just came out. So
I just saw that. Absolutely. So, and that, beats expectations as well. I mean, several months, these past couple months have beat expectations from forecasters. So they're doing a really good job there in a state like Wisconsin. And we're seeing this under, President Joe Biden, is that manufacturing jobs are on the rise. There have been hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs that have been added to this economy under this president. And then folks I know are concerned about, issues around inflation. In the United States, inflation is dropping. It's the lowest of any of the developed countries, any of the G7, G20 countries. Those countries don't have economies that are as strong, and their inflation is much higher than what we have in the United States, and that's directly related to the president's leadership. There are a number of other things that the administration has accomplished over time, including as it relates to healthcare. President Obama's signature healthcare law, the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. There's millions of more people that are enrolled in getting access to healthcare because of that. The president's administration has worked to cap insulin at $35 a month for seniors and would like to expand that more broadly. But Republicans are blocking those efforts. Young people like myself, quite frankly, who's a first generation college student, right? Many of those young people are getting the chance to have their college debt eliminated, putting them in a position to more quickly start a family, start a business, or what have you, and not have the burden of college debt strapped around you. And for young people, particularly Black young people that attend historically Black colleges and universities, the largest amount of federal resources ever delivered to HBCUs has come from President Biden's administration. In fact, the lowest ever unemployment rate for Black people in this country has been achieved under President Joe Biden's administration. So there's a lot of things to be proud of in this administration domestically. Internationally, I think it's important to recognize that there's not been a ground war that sucked the United States into a conflict in Europe in over 70 years, and that's because of NATO. And now here's a clear distinction between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. If you leave it to Donald Trump, this man has told Russia, one of our chief geopolitical adversaries, to do whatever they want to as it relates to NATO countries, even going so far as to attacking them. I was just saying something recently where Vladimir Putin was praising Donald Trump because I believe that the former president would seek to give some land up for Ukraine in order to stop the war that's happening there, where President Biden is working to expand NATO and box Russia in. So he's worked to make sure those alliances are strong, and Donald Trump wants to tear those things down. And then there's the issue of women's bodily autonomy, of course, and democracy as a whole. If you haven't read or looked at this whole Project 2025 stuff that is going to be the handbook for a second Trump presidency, folks are really looking to it. That would be bad news, really bad news, a dystopian future for people of color, for other minorities, for people that have different religious views from the far right, for women, for LGBT folks, and the like in this country.
We're coming up. It's interesting. I had a conversation with Vice President Harris, and she had pointed out that on a macro level, the economy is good, and especially coming up because people were complaining about inflation, but what we really could have had was a recession, which we did not have. Like inflation, you pay more to buy. Recession means you don't have the money to buy. And I don't know if that's clear with people because, again, macro, micro economics, how do we people get that? Because I think DJ was talking about that undecided group, independents, but then there's another group out there that's now have been identified as the couch. How many people are going to decide just to sit it out because they don't think it matters?
Well, every single vote matters. I mean, especially in a state like Wisconsin that decided on a razor's edge. I mean, we've got millions of people that vote in the state, and yet these statewide elections, especially the presidential elections, are decided by only a handful of folks. 20,000 people out of millions. I often say, like, Milwaukee's got a lot of political power as it relates to these statewide elections, because those votes, these 20,000 votes, that's easily made up here. That's if you're looking for change, right? You're looking in your pockets, you're looking in the couch cushions. Those votes are in the couch cushions in Milwaukee. It's about activating those voters, and they can be the ones to decide the direction that Wisconsin goes. And I believe, and this has been the case for the past number of presidential elections, whoever wins Wisconsin ultimately wins the White House, ultimately wins the presidency. So that's important. Your conversation with the vice president was really important too, as it relates to the economy. This stuff is important. And as we were talking about the job forecasts exceeding expectations these past number of months, including in June, as you pointed out, Keith, the analysts had also predicted that there would be a recession that happened in the United States as well. And they've been predicting that for months and months and months. Yet the policies of President Joe Biden has evaporated a recession from happening in the United States. Our economy continues to be the strongest, most resilient economy in the world, and that's in large part thanks to the president and the policies his administration is putting forward.
With the Republican National Convention fastly approaching, what can the public look forward to in preparation to just transportation and traveling throughout the city?
Sure, and that's a great question. So downtown, where the main convention activities will be, there's going to be two sort of perimeters, an outer perimeter and an inner perimeter. The inner perimeter will be a fenced-off area where most of the official convention activities will happen. So there will be some disruption. There has to be, because there'll be a fence in place. And so folks will not be able to necessarily access some of those spots by car. In the outside area, there is more room for folks to be able to come down to get access, to go inside. Vehicles would need to be swept for security purposes, but you still can come down and still have access to those things.
And that perimeter, is it to the river, or does it cross the river going east?
No, it doesn't. It does not cross the river. That information is in it's been publicized. I believe it's in the Journal Sentinel and other places. If you reach out to our office, we can get that information to you.
No, I was just saying, in terms of people who might want to, you still have some of your popular spots like Water Street. And I don't know where parking is going to be, but I think that was the question DJ was asking. Obviously, it's going to not so much disrupt, but it's going to alter how we do business for 5 days, right? I mean, a convention that size. And so for the locals, there could be some inconvenience. But the bigger picture is now that, you have 50,000 people who are descending on your city.
Yeah. And if that didn't answer your question, DJ, more directly, I'm sorry about that. Yes. So folks in the outer perimeter absolutely still can come down. I mean, the vehicles would need to be swept, as I said, in order to get access. It's just that inner perimeter that sort of edges in and out and jags this way, that way, that folks would not be able to access by car. That's the credential zone, but everywhere else folks are able to go. You just have to make sure you go through the security precautions.
Well, you got a lot to look forward to, huh?
Yes, it's a big deal. I think it'll create an opportunity to elevate the city nationally, globally, even, because you'll have press from all over the world that are here, beaming images of Milwaukee, into living rooms and C-suites, all around the world. And my desire is for this to, again, elevate the city and put us in a position where we're not looked over for other large-scale events. I want other large-scale political, business, sports, and entertainment things to come here that otherwise would go to other places. The routine places that we always see. I want Milwaukee to be a part of that mix.
And it's interesting, we were talking about that, they're estimating 50,000 people coming in for the convention. But every summer, actually, during the time of the convention this year, we have 25,000 people who descend on the city for Northwest Mutual, right?
Yeah, we have. I mean, and that'll continue. and we of course want to see that same sort of activity happen with Northwestern Mutual, especially given their investment that we helped out with, bringing their suburban campus here, basically, and bringing 2,000 jobs into the city. So I want to see more of that sort of activity happen, not just limited to Northwestern Mutual. I want other companies like Northwestern across the country to see it and bring that stuff here too.
Mayor Cavalier Johnson, man, appreciate you taking a few moments with us.
Hey, Keith, DJ, thank you guys for having me.
No problem.
Right. All right, Mayor Johnson. It's really interesting. But I think Cleveland hosted the 2020. Didn't they do?
Mm-hmm.
No, 2016. Was it 20?
I thought
The last one where it was in person, because 2020 wasn't done in person, right?
might have been.
Well, it could have been Cleveland.
No. It was Toronto.
It couldn't be Toronto, man.
You said 2016?
Toronto?
Because that was
we're
Kobe's,
not gonna have. We're not.
That
gonna,
was Kobe's last. You said All-Star game?
No convention.
Oh, convention. I thought you said All-Star game.
I had the Democratic convention in Toronto.
I don't remember.
This guy, man. Why don't you keep up, DJ? Just keep up
No.
the conversation.
I think Cleveland was the last one because I'm thinking.
No, because he talked about sports and other.
Yeah, they're trying to get an All-Star game.
That's what I thought he was alluding to, but
yeah, they're trying to get an All-Star game.
No, I don't really remember where they was at in 2020.
Okay.
Well, they're heading in when you look at the development and the increase in, if you will, convention space and or even hotels in our downtown area around that would-be convention area.
Mm-hmm.
They're certainly building and working to be able to support, larger conferences coming this way.
I was talking to a young man who used to work for the Bucks,
Mm-hmm.
and he was telling me that you need to have the minimum of 3 4-star hotels.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things they're looking at in terms of amenities.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting you were talking about Kobe, and Kobe regularly took that helicopter, right? But one of the things I discovered was that Kobe had a suite at the Ritz-Carlton, which was right across the street from the Staples Center.
Mm-hmm.
So when he come in, now if anybody's ever been to Ritz-Carlton,
2016 was Philadelphia,
and what Cleveland was 2020. But so that's what they're looking for, those amenities when you come to a city.
No, what constitutes, if you will, a 4-star? Is it the capacity, or I mean, I know services and stuff like that provided, but
the amenities. I stayed at a Ritz-Carlton. I was able to get a real good deal.
How did we forget this? Remember, it was here.
The Democratic convention was here.
Right.
The Republican convention.
Oh, the Republic.
I think they were in Cleveland.
It probably was Cleveland.
Yeah. But no, the amenities. So I'm checking in the hotel, and they give me a glass of champagne as I'm checking in. That's a Ritz-Carlton. So that's what we talk about when you talk about amenities. When you come in, the choice of whether or not you have a chef. I mean, what type of chef you have, the food, the room service, all those things that you can, you just offer. Now, I hear some people say, ain't no difference between a Red Roof Inn and a Ritz-Carlton.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yes, there is. First of all, the sink ain't in the room. We can just start there. Separate bathroom with a sink in it. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
And Mr. Debo and DJ, no longer the protege. Thank you for taking my call, brother. Assalamu alaikum to you. I wasn't trying to be facetious or anything like that. When I said that, brother DJ.
Oh, no, I didn't take anything, but.
Right. You are the bright light, or the brightest light, I would say, and I dare say it, in the room, because you are.
Wait a minute, hold on, brother.
He's the most apparent with regard to our future. So you old dudes, y'all hair probably white, and
first off, I don't
y'all
have
probably
any hair.
AARP members or something.
Hey, Chris, you in your 40s, right?
I'm an adult, sir.
Yeah, you're in your 40s.
Name,
Trust me,
rank,
ARP is getting ready to
serial
find
number
you.
is
ARP is
all.
getting ready to find
Yeah,
you,
it won't be
dude.
long.
Well, I'm not worried about art.
Oh, they're going to find you, man.
Because you know why I'm not worried about art or AARP is because of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. How to eat to live, not live to eat.
Right.
Right. Yes, sir. So
But here's the
on that
interesting
point.
thing, though, and here's the randomness of life. You can eat
Random.
right. You
Random.
can do all those things. Be the
Life
healthiest
is not
person in the
random.
world. It can be, and you be all the person,
It
and
can.
then you walk outside and get hit by a bus. You're in the
That
best
means
shape
you
of your
weren't
life and
paying
get run over
attention.
by a bus. That's the
That
randomness
means
of
you
life,
were
man.
not utilizing general order number 1 to take charge of your post and all simple property in view. You understand? That's why you would get ran over by a bus. There's no such thing as those Final Destination or that movie series where the people were just getting killed by all kind of crazy stuff. But anyway, why I call? And I'm like, I gotta go because people are gonna get upset.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Right.
First Meech,
Well,
now Christopher. Here we go.
Yeah,
What you got?
Something in the air,
Upset
man.
Friday. What we
When
got?
has he ever been concerned about somebody getting
You
upset?
worry about somebody's feelings? Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
Put Christopher on the phone.
let me say this.
Put Christopher on the
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave a lecture some time ago, many moons ago, and he spoke about feelings, and he quoted a song, "Feelings, nothing more than feelings."
They're vapors.
My father told me, and as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said as well, that you have to rise above emotions. My father said that you have to dismiss your emotions and utilize reason to find clarity. That's what my father said.
Mhm.
My biological father. Who's
But you
still
know what,
living.
Christopher, you know, it's interesting when you say that, though, and I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to say this agnostically. Religion sometimes pushes up against logic. And so you have to have this reconciliation between, as you said, Pastor Powell was talking about things not making sense, right? And sometimes what we then say for religion is it might not make sense, just believe and have faith, right? But then that pushes up against logic, that pushes up against reason.
Well, the problem with it is this, is since our people have been trained up to utilize our imaginations to suffice for reason
and emotions,
that's where, in our emotions, that's where the confusion comes into play. God, Allah, is not the author of confusion. And if you look at life and you look at our biology, or if you just will take a grasp of the tangible reality that we exist in, then I think it could help you see deeper as to who you are and what you are. You might be able to find purpose, but here's what I call for concerning the issue over in Gaza and the expansionism that Israel is executing to annihilate the Palestinians and then to broaden the war of Armageddon. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke about this. He said that war is not going to stop. America, as the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote about in the book, The Fall of America, and the message to the black man in America, how America is going to be drawn into a war that would start in Europe, Ukraine, and that Europe would become the graveyard of World War III. And we should pay attention to all of this because it's going to impact us immediately and very, very soon. I think that's a double talk, but thank you for taking my call, sir.
I appreciate you. You're listening to Community Voice. Caller, I see you. I'm going to grab you right after the break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Community Voice. Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on there.
Yes, happy Friday to everybody. Here's a problem I'm having. No matter what religion he or she follow, everybody has a right to live in peace and harmony. Majority of these religions was written by a old, dried up, jaded, bitter man with his old, outdated, backdoor, back alley, Parmesan, black velvet, 2 for $5 belief. And now people are saying,
what are they doing 2 for $5, Al?
Well, you know, they do that at liquor stores all the time because them the bottles I always find outside on my grass because, you know, can't nobody walk to the garden.
They had gone up to two for $6 though, Al. I mean, you know, got to get.
They're 2 for $6 now.
At least 2 for $6. I don't know. I don't buy them.
I don't know neither, but I know back in the day that's what they were buying.
Yeah. You're right.
But moving forward, everybody has a right to live in peace and harmony. And a lot of this is going on right now. Everybody want to dictate what religion is better than what religion, or they want to use that to tell somebody how he or she should be living their life. All I can say is write your own reality. Write your own copyrights that you own, because your journey, your experience might be different from somebody else. And as long as you judge a person by their integrity, their character, and their words, you good. Because when it's said and done, when you go through this world, everybody is not sugar, honey, iced tea in your book until they open their mouth, because that mouth is the real truth. But one of these questions I would like to ask you is, how can we get our streets back in order? Because I'm starting to find it very disturbing when I'm hearing men and women, like our seniors, they don't want to drive no more. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they did not get this far to be in their best years, you know, to live in fear. And I be looking at Titonia and I be seeing them baselining. And I always say to myself, we got a cemetery right there with open enrollment, no invitation. Why not do the community favor and just climb on right up in there? Because you're not helping your community. You're breaking it down. And then the issue I have, you know, once they get beat down by the devil and they find Christ, they say, well, I'm going to ask God for forgiveness. And I say to myself, well, you shouldn't be asking God for forgiveness because you didn't create no victim with God. You know, you should be asking that person who went to work 20, 30, 40 years who paid their bills. And you decided you want to steal their central air being a porch monkey, nigga. That's the person you need to be asking for forgiveness.
You know, it's interesting, Al. I'd asked the priest when I was in high school, why do you do confession? And they said that we sin against other people. And so that exoneration, that priest is symbolic of the other human being that you sinned against, right?
Well, if you're going to ask God for forgiveness, how about you ask God to help cut a check? That's how I feel. Because if this woman works 20, 30, 40 years to do everything right, and she didn't want to lay on her back and wait for the first through the fifth for a welfare check or piss out another kid to get an extra 200, she did what she wanted to do because she wanted her own independence. But because he or she chose to be a sand nigga, you want to create a victim, and then you want to ask God for forgiveness. How about you ask those victims for forgiveness? And how about, since you want to ask God for forgiveness, ask God to cut a check? I mean, he was running with tax collectors and prostitutes, so he should not have no problem coming up with no money. And that's just how I feel, because it's very irritating. I ask God for forgiveness for what? Right. You should be asking that victim. Ask that man who can't use his central air because you wanted to be a stupid monkey and take the condenser and sell it for $25 and still gonna be a broke hoe the next morning when you get out.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Have a good one.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, ask those churches.
But Al was consistent. He was himself this morning.
Yeah. Ask the churches, man. A whole lot of churches you go by, and people were definitely still in the central air.
Churches, man, anywhere they could get to them, they got to fence them in now.
They fenced them in and locked them in, man. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You're on there.
Oh, he gone. Oh. He was there. I don't know what happened.
Just came across the wires. The Wisconsin State Supreme Court has reallowed the drop boxes. Everybody remember that especially 2020, that people, because I think they said almost
Some of the red box.
The boxes that you could go, like it was right over here at the library.
Oh, okay.
And the Republicans went in and said and outlawed them. Yeah, the drop boxes for your ballots. And so it looks like you'll be able to do that again.
Speaking of the Supreme Court, are they corrupt?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't really even have to go into any real detail with that. It's obvious.
That's kind of crazy that they came out and said
not really.
But you know what? Biden benefits from this decision.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't carved out for Trump.
No, this is for everybody. This is for all the presidents.
But the president always really kind of had a certain level of immunity.
So we can never, like I always say, we can't act dumb. There are obviously certain things that the presidents are allowed to do that me and you aren't allowed to do. Like I can't just begin a war with the country, like me.
Well, technically, the president's not supposed to do that.
But they have that.
An act of Congress would take to start a war.
Yeah, but they have that.
But they have the power to go in, to intervene. It says under the guise of our national security, i.e.,
so we get
the invasion of Iraq.
So we get that. But for anything that you do, essentially, under that oath and position, you have immunity.
I don't think it eliminated the burden of proof that the person would have to show they were doing it in an official capacity.
You can't just walk up and shoot somebody.
Right. I mean, I think that when people got it, I think the other piece of it was that there were people who wanted to see Trump get dead. And so I think if you look at it from that perspective and that view, obviously there's a significant number of Americans who really believe that Trump is guilty of certain criminal behavior.
He definitely contributed to January 6th.
But what does it say about America that more than 40% of the population will dismiss this type of behavior and it's not a disqualifier? I can only imagine if there was a Democrat. Again, we said tongue in cheek.
No, I can only imagine if it was a black man.
Well, that's what we get. Thank you. Just great segue, because we said tongue in cheek that they wanted to impeach Obama over a beige suit. So, but this dude has gone in and undermined U.S. security. We don't know if he's giving secrets to folks. Now, this is stuff that hasn't even come out, but we do know the classified records case is a very strong case. Now, I said this, I was talking to someone about this. I said the case is probably going to be in a lot of trouble. Is going to be that Georgia case.
And we have to, just acknowledge that race plays a factor in all of these decisions.
Okay.
They do. Because, obviously
there was a black man who was part of the majority decision.
Well, we still trying to figure out if he black.
Well, that nigga black.
He looked black. He look.
Oh no, he's black. Yeah, he's black.
We still trying to figure that out.
Caller. That's where you go when he say stuff like that.
They just gave.
Hey, that nigga black.
Yeah, he black.
Hey,
and when he go to Georgia and they don't know who he is, he gonna be black. So he follow the program.
Yeah, I've been tripping for a long time.
Right.
Go ahead, caller. You on?
Good morning.
That's me.
Yep,
you.
You're on there.
Hello, friends. How you doing?
All right, yourself?
Pretty good.
Hey, John, you're gonna have to keep it light. It's Friday, man.
I know, but Christopher was just on. I get to say something serious.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Okay. So he talked expansionism. The Palestine Liberation Organization Charter, the PLO covenant, says Palestinian Arabs are the vanguard of Arab liberation, and one goes hand in hand with the other. So you look at the old maps when the Arab Empire first expanded, speaking of the word expansion, it starts with Palestine before you get to Africa, where they're slaughtering Africans right now. So let me look at my own genetics. I had 7 of those tests. The one that you guys always advertise, all of us, I did that. That's a very generic one. That's the autosome. We got everybody for the last dozen generations. So that's really hard to distinguish the real ancient deep stuff.
you got to go for the male and the female. So I got on both of my sides, and I got definitely Arab in me, definitely Kurdish. We get this illusion that Afro-Asiatic is different from Indo-European, and it's not that different. On the Nazi side, they'll say, oh, it's a bunch of separate white people, separate Semitic. It isn't that different, but it's also not different from North African. So this idea that, oh, I'm not brown enough, no matter how brown I am, to be a true Semitic person, or I'm too white on that side, but I'm too brown to be a white man. You go to Stormfront, it says, I'm not white because I got a J group. J's just in the middle of the alphabet.
Yeah, but white is artificial. It's an artificial construction.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
That's the whole point. It works for both sides. It works from the white supremacists and the people who say Jews are too white. So which one is it?
Well, I won't get in. I
right.
won't get into
You're
that
absolutely
intramural
right.
skirmish among European people about who is white. I'm just saying what Christopher is talking about is currently where we are at this point. I clearly understand, though I am not endorsing. So let me say it again. I clearly understand when the Palestinian Liberation Organization talks, their whole idea from the Jordan to the sea, because they feel, hold on, John, they feel that they should be treated as true inhabitants of that land. Now, as you pointed out on many occasions, that is of dispute. But if we just, I'm sorry, go on.
But it's part, like I said, I have double-digit Palestinian Arab and Jewish. So I'm considered autosomal Jewish and white, but then on that part where it goes deep, I have everything from Bangladesh to Morocco.
Right.
On the father and the mother side. So when you go to autosom, I'm mostly European and Jewish. So where do you draw the line if I'm both Ashkenazi Jew and Sephardic?
But that's the problem. You use the term there. You draw the line. And when people go in and draw these artificial lines, I'm the one who's told I'm foreigner by a bunch of people who conquered the land that are my brothers, literally, not just folklore. Well, it's always to the victor goes the spoil. So whoever goes in and conquers the land is going to be the person who. Yes.
The Arab Empire did conquer the land.
Okay.
And they're still conquering Africa right now. And I looked up Hamas. What is the relationship to the government that's slaughtering Africans right now? Hamas is directly related to starting firebombing Coptic churches. PLO has always been involved.
But John, ethnic tension. Russians are killing Ukrainians.
I know.
All right. So the point is that when we have, I think that right now there are about 33 wars, ongoing wars in this world. And a lot of it comes down to ethnicity, but the bottom line comes down to the land. They're not just fighting.
You said that a bunch of times. Yes, you said that. That's the corridor. That's the main corridor of the Occidental world, the Levantine corridor. So that's a vital spot. So I'm not saying they shouldn't exist. They're saying I shouldn't exist. And they're because in effect the state of Israel. But hold on, John. In effect, those people, the state of Israel is saying they should not exist. If they could have, they would have wiped them out a long time ago. Remember, they just couldn't wipe them out a long time ago because this. It would be genocide or considered genocide. Wait a minute, John. That triggers a whole lot of international reaction. What they did was they did what, if you're a descendant of enslaved Africans, you truly understand. If you are a descendant, wait a minute, John, hold on, John. If you are a descendant of European Jews, you understand this. They created ghettos. Gaza is a ghetto. Okay, talk about Sudan. I'm not going to talk about Sudan because we're talking about Israel and we're talking about the Palestinians. I know you are, and I'm begging you to talk about Africa. No, because if we take our sights off of what's happening in Israel, what's happening in Israel is going to continue to happen. We can't take our sights off of it. Okay, you're drawing an analogy, and then I said, okay, here's your ancestry. Most likely the same Fulani, Wolof, Bambara, Tukul. No, I'm talking about when you marginalize people. Some people will argue, and again, I'm being agnostic. Some people will argue that you took their indigenous land. All right, so we got that piece going on, but you cannot deny the fact that when they created the Gaza Strip in 1948. You put something like 2, 3, 4 million people in this small little land. It's a ghetto. It's the same thing that happened to your people in Europe. They created ghettos. Okay, they are my people. Both people are my people. Okay, but I'm talking about the Jewish folks and those folks who are descendants, which makes it even more maddening that people who were part of that, who are descendants of that, turn around and essentially kind of do the same thing that happened to them in Europe. Okay, I'm talking credibility. Your story I've heard, and I agree there was a war, and there's refugees from a war. You will not talk about Jews from Arab countries. Why don't you talk about that? Jews from Arab, what scared them away? Why are the majority of Jews in Israel actually Judeo-Arabic? They're not European. Why?
Because if you look at history, but John, if
why do Jews from Arab countries live and make the majority of Israelis today?
Can people of Palestinian descent move freely through the state of Israel?
It's like me going down to the state building. I got to go through a checkpoint.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, can Palestinian people?
Yes, they can.
No, they cannot.
Yes, they work in Israel.
No, they cannot. They cannot. Did you hear what I asked you? I asked you, can they move freely? They cannot. They're not considered citizens of Israel.
They work in Israel. They go through Gaza.
Are they citizens of Israel?
No, I didn't say they're citizens.
They're not.
No, they're not citizens.
And because they're not citizens of Israel, then Israel feels as a government policy, we can do the ghetto. We can create the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. We can go into East Jerusalem and appropriate housing for people who've been there for hundreds of years, right? The right of return. So there are policies out there. So when you talk about the Palestinian people, they're pushing back against oppression and marginalization. And yes, there's a certain amount of hate that goes along with that, because you can ask some of your ancestors how they feel about Germans.
Okay, I understand. So the ones that in my heritage were pushed out of the Arab world,
yes,
was not because they were Zionists. There was 250,000
because they were Jews.
Morocco. Why were they kicked out of Morocco?
Because they were Jews.
So that's not because of Zionism, right?
Who talked about Zionism?
They say it's just Zionism. They're all saying, "Oh, it's not Judaism, it's Zionism." Why did they kick them out of Morocco if the majority of Zionists originally were European? Why is it almost all Jews from the Arab world are in Israel? Not because they were Zionists; they were made Zionists by the Arab Empire.
No. Oh, you can't blame that on the Arab Empire.
Why?
You can't.
It's not the empire.
For hundreds of years, and maybe close to 1,000 years, many Jews were in a diaspora in Europe and throughout the world. Yeah, it was the Holocaust, right? Even though you had Zionism, as I understand it, in the early 1900s, but it really took off after World War II because of the treatment and the Holocaust in Europe. And so then there was these folks who were returning. But we never, there were 5 million people who were already there. And those people have been displaced.
No way, not 5 million?
Well, that's a high number.
Like 100,000. They doubled. Now they're 5 million. No, they didn't do no 5 million people. The majority of Jews, the majority of people in Jerusalem in the middle of the 1800s were Jews. Now, not the rest of Palestine, but in Jerusalem. There was only like 100,000. It multiplied. That's another way you can't.
But weren't there, and still is, aren't there people of Palestinian descent who are part of East Jerusalem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Now, just for a second, okay. When I bring up Mauritania, you mentioned if you understand from a slave point or enslaved person, that's why I bring up Mauritania. Today, right this minute, we don't know exactly. Is it thousands, tens of thousands, or 100,000 of enslaved blacks? They don't have the luxury of saying we're enslaved. To them, it's irrelevant. To them, they are subhuman. The way the Arabs look at them. If you look at the pictures, the Arabs are definitely lighter complected. The man came over.
Okay.
What?
Let me ask you this question. You say how Arabs are looking at them as less than human. What is it? What is it to be a Gentile?
It's just, you were talking, a couple of weeks ago, I meant to call you. Yeah, it just means you're the nation. That you can be a righteous person or a non-righteous. It doesn't.
But it was not a term of endearment used by Jewish people to refer to non-Jewish people, right?
That's a Christian interpretation.
But that's Christian, okay. So we can blame that on the Catholic Church?
It's just the nation. It's from the same root word as genus or genus, like a genealogy. It's from the same root. It's just a Greek word for goyim. Is just the word in Hebrew. It just means the nations. And there's a concept of righteous Gentile. That means if you're a decent person, there's 7 laws of Noah from right in that little part in Noah when the dove doesn't come back in chapter 9. That the whole world are descended from Noah. We're all equal. You just singled out the Jews to make a contract. Not that you're better. You went through this a couple weeks ago, and you said there's this funny thing about chosen. And that's a real sticking point. It is not that they're chosen because they think they're better. They made a contract to single themselves out to be like a movie contract, just like you watch the Ten Commandments.
Look, that I think every ethnic group of people have a certain chauvinism when it comes to them. And so the fact that we feel superior to other human beings is nothing new. I mean, that has been as long as we've been human beings. It's certainly an organized society, organized city, states, and countries. So you have that. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that it is a question of sovereignty. And again, this is settled law. I mean, most people now in the world, most countries will accept Israel's right to exist. But, there's still Palestinian people said that even if we accept Israel's right to exist, what about our right to exist and our right to freedom?
Okay, remember you asked me a few weeks ago, what's the solution? And I said, Switzerland, just off the top of my head. And you said, good luck. And I was thinking, after I hung up, how spontaneously, because that's the idea of decentralized government down to they call it canton, which would be like our county, because it's, countries the size of Wisconsin. But it's got French, Germans, and Italians living at local control, and it's called a confederation. So they only come together for federal issues, and they don't interfere with each other. So if you think of what's possible, the whole world could follow that example, but we have to live by letting your neighbor be without us trying to get the larger government to control. You have to deal with plumbing, but look at the Vatican. It's right in the middle of Rome. They don't fight with the Romans. A little place like San Marino is right in the middle of Italy. Monaco is right at the edge of France. You can do it. You just have to.
And the original Jewish ghettos are in Italy. All right, appreciate you, man.
Okay, talk to you. Bye-bye.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're up in the last break of the program. Call I See You. I'm going to grab you right after the break. We'll be right back.
What makes Wisconsin Dells such a big deal? Well, big splashes for one, big rides too, big shows, big boats, and big scenery. The bigger the better. Water parks, they're a pretty big deal around here. Big families? You bet. Small ones too. Mini golf? Peak time. 19 plus million gallons of water? No biggie. Water slides? Big, bigger, biggest. Big attractions? Check. Big theme parks? Check. Big meals? Check, please. Wisconsin Dells. Now that's big. Go to wisdells.com and plan your trip today.
Are you a dynamic individual with a passion for sales? Do you thrive in a fast-paced environment where every sale counts? Then listen up. WNOV is seeking one exceptional individual to join our outstanding sales team. If you have a proven sales background and a drive to succeed, we want to hear from you. Don't wait another moment. Send us your resume via email at mjones@WNOV860.com. That's mjones@WNOV860.com. Join our winning team today and let's drive success together.
Hello, Milwaukee. This is Pastor Pyles of Abundant Faith Church of Integrity, better known as the Business Pastor. And I'll be joining the WNOV family starting July 7th. I'm excited to invite you to join me on our incredible journey. But most of all, we'll be learning and understanding the Word of God. Get ready to dive in on this deep teaching to know and understand God's Word. We're going to be strengthening family, empower the community, and most of all, growing our leaders. Together, we'll be exploring the power of prayer and the beauty of forgiveness, but most of all, we'll be discovering the dimensions of the kingdom. Tune in every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. starting July the 7th. It's going to be an hour of teaching, laughter, but most of all, it's going to increase your faith.
Hi, my name is Tamika Vukovic, Co-Executive Director of Wisconsin Voices. Please join Wisconsin Voices every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We will be focusing on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
Welcome back to Community Voice. Caller, thank you for your patience. This is our last call, so make it quick, please.
Thank you. This is the Reverend Dr. Andrew Ward, and I heard the exchange with what's his name? He calls in all the time. Who wants to be a reverend? And regarding Israel and Palestine, it's my view that all those people in that area are the same, except for the religion, and that is borne out by when they came to America. The Jewish people came to America, and some of them changed their names and went as white and started and got control of America. And money rules. We have no democracy. We have no republic. We have a plutocracy, and a plutocracy is where money rules. Russia and Germany and what's the guy and Saddam Hussein use the same playbook that Trump is trying to use right now. They take the money, they get the rich, and if they don't do what they want them to do, they abolish them. They get rid of them. I'm gonna let y'all have it for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hey, we got our program back.
Right.
Any plans for the weekend?
Yeah, I'm heading to Minnesota after the program for a tournament. So
yeah,
safe travels there, and hopefully to and
drive.
from.
That's a great drive.
Yeah. What's the tournament? You're coaching?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you have? Cub Scouts or what do you have?
No, 17U.
Just messing with you. Cub Scouts.
I've been doing it a long time now. Coming up on 10 years coaching.
Long time.
And this is a tournament for
basketball.
Okay. Yeah. No wonder you think you know something about basketball. You're a coach.
But most people don't know nothing about basketball.
Yeah.
So I hear.
Yeah.
I know a few coaches that don't know nothing about basketball.
I do too. I do too. That's why, like they say, it ain't till somebody open their mouth that you can tell that they are fool.
What it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, gentlemen, y'all.
Who's my guy? Is it Isaiah Hartenstein?
Mm-hmm.
That was with the Knicks.
Mm-hmm. He not black.
And he got 83?
He talking about he black.
87 million?
Atrocious. Yep. Well, people were saying that he was going to get a solid contract just for his performance that he put on in the playoffs, which he did, but that's a lot of money.
I don't understand how. Well, there is an exception to that rule. Obviously, Kyrie Irving, one game at Duke, 2 games at Duke. But I don't understand how these dudes who look a certain way are getting these huge contracts either after one game or one series.
Right.
I'm just, and everybody's saying he's the most overpaid free agent.
I mean, what's that one dude who kept getting hurt, but he kept getting big contracts? Gordon Hayward. Yeah.
And the one dude was so bad that they traded to the Grizzlies. It's Denard, but they're renegotiating his contract because he's overpaid. All right. Let me thank Pastor Robert Pyles. Hold on just a minute. My sister, I need to shout out somebody. Hold on, my sister. My sister's calling in. I'm sorry, dear. You called in. It's late. Sorry about that. So again, who that? Pastor Robert Pyles, the Honorable Mayor Cavalier Johnson.
Yeah.
All of you callers, DJ Debo Carvey.
Happy birthday, Amaris, again.
Happy birthday, Amaris, again. All right. So, good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody on Monday. You have a good weekend and go from this place in peace.